You spend most of your energy trying to make your problems go away. You long for the day when life will finally be smooth, when the difficulties will be resolved, when you can rest in untroubled ease. And Jung understands this longing, but he wants to tell you something that turns it upside down. The very problems you are trying to escape are the only thing that ever wakes you up. You do not become conscious through comfort. You become conscious through conflict, through doubt, through the difficulties you cannot get past. The smooth and easy life keeps you asleep. It is the obstacle, the friction, the problem that has no easy answer that forces you to become aware. And so the thing you have been treating as your enemy is, in truth, the maker of your soul. He begins with how consciousness actually arises, because once you see it, you will never again wish your problems simply gone. Think of the small child living in a kind of paradise of unconsciousness. The child is carried along by life, by instinct, by the rhythms of its world, without yet standing apart from any of it to reflect, to question, to know itself as a separate self. It simply lives, immersed, undivided, asleep in the way that all unconscious things are asleep. And how does a child ever wake from this paradise into real awareness? Not through more comfort. The child becomes conscious precisely through collision, through the moments when life resists it, when what it wants is denied, when it bumps up against an obstacle that will not yield. Awareness is wrested out of unconsciousness through difficulty. Where everything flows smoothly, there is no need for consciousness and none arises. It is only at the point of obstruction, where the smooth flow is broken, that the light of awareness is first kindled. And of all the obstructions that wake us, none is sharper than doubt. As long as you are certain, as long as your beliefs and assumptions carry you forward unquestioned, you do not really think. You simply run on the rails. You are given, asleep to the fact that they are rails at all. It is doubt that breaks the spell. The moment you are no longer sure, the moment a question opens beneath a thing you had always taken for granted, you are forced into genuine thought, into real seeing, into consciousness. This is why doubt, which we experience as so painful and unwelcome, is in fact one of the great awakeners. The person who has never doubted has never truly thought. The questions that unsettle you, that disturb your comfortable certainties, that keep you up at night, unable to rest in the old easy answers, are not your enemies. They are the sharp edge on which your consciousness is being ground keen. A faith or a conviction that has passed through doubt and come out the other side is awake in a way that the unquestioned version never was. The doubt did not destroy it. The doubt woke it up. So both conflict and doubt do the same deep work. Conflict breaks the smooth flow of your action and forces you to see. Doubt breaks the smooth flow of your certainty and forces you to think. In both cases, something that was running unconsciously is brought to a halt, and at the point of that halt, awareness is born. We spend enormous effort trying to avoid both, to keep our lives free of conflict and our minds free of doubt, and insofar as we succeed, we keep ourselves comfortably asleep. The price of staying awake is the willingness to bear both the conflicts that block our path and the doubts that unsettle our certainties, and to let them do their awakening work rather than fleeing them back into the smooth unconsciousness we came from. This is the deep pattern of all waking, and it holds for the grown person no less than the child. As long as your life runs along without resistance, as long as everything works and nothing blocks you, you remain, in a sense, asleep. You move through your days on habit and instinct, never forced to stop and truly see, but let a real problem arise, one that will not yield to your usual tricks, one that blocks your path and will not move, and suddenly you are forced into awareness. You must stop. You must look. You must question what you assumed, examine what you took for granted, become conscious of things that had run invisibly beneath your notice for years. The problem drags you out of your sleep into wakefulness. The obstruction is the birthplace of consciousness. Every real difficulty you have ever faced has, whether you knew it or not, widened your awareness, made you see more, know more, understand more than the comfortable version of you ever would have. The old stories knew this and told it in their deepest myth. There is the ancient tale of paradise, the garden where the first humans lived in innocent unconsciousness, at one with everything, knowing neither good nor evil, neither shame nor division. And how did humanity leave that garden and become what we are? By eating from the tree of knowledge, by an act that shattered the innocent unconsciousness and brought awareness, and with awareness, division, struggle, and the knowledge of opposites. We are taught to read this as a pure catastrophe, a fall from grace, but look more closely. The price of becoming conscious, of becoming truly human, awake, knowing, was precisely the loss of the unconscious paradise. You cannot have both. To gain awareness is to lose innocence. To wake up is to leave the garden. The fall into knowledge and the dawn of consciousness are the same event, and every one of us repeats it in our own small way every time a problem forces us out of an easy unconsciousness into the harder light of real awareness. Jung sets this within a larger picture because it will steady you when the dark times come. Look at the world itself and see how it is built. There are as many nights as there are days. The year that gives us the warmth and abundance of summer also gives us the cold and barren months of winter, and the one is not a flaw in the design that the other corrects. Together they are the design. Light and dark, growth and decay, ease and difficulty are woven into the very fabric of existence in equal measure, and a life is no different. You were never promised an existence of unbroken day. The nights are not a malfunction of your life. They are half of what a life is, as necessary to the whole as the winter is to the turning year. And just as the seed does its hidden work in the dark cold of winter, preparing the growth that bursts forth in spring, so the dark and difficult seasons of your life are doing a hidden work in you, a work that the bright easy seasons could never do. The person who demands perpetual daylight, who treats every night as an outrage to be abolished, is at war with the structure of reality itself and will find no peace because he is refusing half of what it means to be alive. This is why the wise have always honored the dark passages of life rather than merely cursing them. They understood that the descent into difficulty, the night of the soul, the time of obstruction and doubt and struggle, is not a detour away from the real business of living, but a central part of it, perhaps the most fruitful part. It is in the dark seasons that the deepest growth happens, the growth that does not show on the surface, the slow forming of a deeper consciousness beneath the frozen ground. To despise these seasons is to despise the very times when you are being most profoundly made. Now you can understand the strange reluctance we feel toward our own growth, the secret pull backward that sabotages us. Part of us does not want to become more conscious because consciousness is hard and the unconscious paradise is sweet. Part of us longs to go back, to return to the carefree state where we were carried along without having to know, without having to bear the weight of awareness and choice and division. This is the deep root of our wish for our problems to simply vanish. It is, at bottom, a wish to go back to sleep, to return to the garden, to be unconscious again. But the way back is barred, as the old story says, by a flaming sword. There is no returning to the paradise of unconsciousness once you have tasted awareness. The only way is forward, to the problem, into more consciousness, not less, and the person who keeps trying to flee backward into the comfortable sleep only suffers more, because he is fighting the very direction of his own life. Jung says clearly what he is not saying, because this truth is easily twisted into something harmful. He is not telling you to go looking for suffering, to seek out pain as if difficulty were good in itself. That would be a perversion of everything he means. Suffering sought for its own sake teaches nothing. It is only the suffering that life itself brings, the genuine problems that arise on your real path, that carries this awakening power. And he is not saying you should refuse all comfort or never seek relief. Rest and ease have their place. No one can live in unbroken struggle. What he is saying is this: when a real problem comes, one that will not simply yield, do not see it only as an affliction to be escaped at any cost. See it also as a summons, a chance to wake up further, to become more conscious than you were. The difficulty that has come into your life uninvited may be the very thing that is trying to make you more fully awake, more fully human, more fully your human, more surely yourself. For this is the dignity hidden inside your hardest struggles, and Jung wants you to feel it. The problem you are wrestling with right now, the one you wish would disappear, is not meaningless. It is doing the deepest work there is. It is forcing you to see what you would not otherwise see, to question what you would otherwise leave unexamined, to grow in a way that no amount of ease could ever have produced. The people who have become most truly conscious, most deeply awake, most fully themselves, did not get there through smooth and easy lives. They got there through difficulty rightly endured, through problems faced rather than fled, through the long labor of staying awake in the presence of what was hard. Your difficulties are not the interruption of your growth, they are its very engine. And the day you stop merely cursing them and begin to ask what they are trying to awaken you is the day they begin to give up their gift. Jung had seen the other side of this too, and it is a quiet tragedy worth naming. There are people who have arranged their lives so successfully around comfort, who have so skillfully avoided every difficulty and silenced every doubt, that they reach the far end of life having never truly woken at all. They are pleasant, untroubled, and strangely unformed, as though life had passed over them without ever quite reaching them. They protected themselves so well from every problem that they protected themselves out of their own growth. And often, beneath the smooth surface, there is a vague and haunting sense of unreality, a feeling of never quite having lived because they spent their whole strength avoiding the very collisions through which a soul is made. Jung tells you this not to frighten you, but to free you from the illusion that a problem-free life is the goal. A problem-free life, if you could achieve it, would be a life half-lived, a long, comfortable sleep. The fully lived life is not the one without difficulty. It is the one in which difficulty was met and used and allowed to do its awakening work. So, how do you face a problem in this spirit, rather than merely flinching from it? It begins with a change of question. The frightened, sleepy part of you asks only, how do I make this go away? How do I get back to comfort as fast as possible? But the awakening question is different. It asks, what is this problem trying to show me? What in me must grow in order to meet it? What awareness is this difficulty trying to force into the light? You do not have to enjoy the problem. You do not have to pretend it does not hurt. You have only to refuse the panicked flight backward into sleep and instead to turn and face the difficulty consciously, asking what it has come to waken you. The problem met this way stops being merely an affliction and becomes a teacher, and the very weight of it, which seemed to be crushing you, turns out to be the pressure under which a deeper and more conscious self is being formed. And there is a strange comfort in knowing that you are not required to enjoy this process for it to work. The seed does not enjoy the cold dark of the winter ground, yet it is formed there all the same. You may meet your difficulty with reluctance, with grief, even with anger, and still it will do its awakening work in you, so long as you do not flee it entirely back into the old sleep. You do not have to be glad of your hardship. You have only to stay, to remain awake within it, and to let it shape you. That much is within your power, even on the hardest day, and that much is enough. So here is what Jung wants you to carry away. You do not become conscious through comfort. You become conscious through your problems. Awareness is wrested out of unconsciousness only through difficulty, at the point where the smooth flow of life is broken and you are forced to stop and truly see. The comfortable life keeps you asleep in the garden. The problem that will not yield is the flaming sword that drives you forward into the harder light of being awake. Part of you longs to go back, to escape your difficulties into the old unconsciousness, but the way back is barred, and the only way is through, into more consciousness, not less. So do not see your hardest struggle only as an affliction to flee. See it as a summons to wake up further. The problem you wish gone may be the very thing forging the awake and whole human being you are meant to become. If a problem in your life looks different now, write 2 words in the comments so you mark it and so others find it. Write, stay awake. And tell me about a difficulty that, looking back, you can see was the very thing that woke you up, because naming it is how you learn to trust the ones you are facing now. And when you are ready, come with Jung to the next one, because there is a heart mercy hidden in all of this that almost no one is told. The deepest problems of your life are never actually solved. You do not solve them. You outgrow them. That is where we go next.